You're about to hear 3 true full horror stories. If these disturb you, hit subscribe and join the Nightmare Society. There's so much more waiting for you. I found my dad in his hunting blind 3 days after he died. He'd had a heart attack in our living room on Thursday. I watched the paramedics cover his face with a sheet. I identified his body at the morgue on Friday. We scheduled the funeral for Monday. On Saturday, I went to clear out his hunting blind. It was deep in the woods behind our property, about 2 miles in, up in an old oak tree. He built it himself 20 years ago. Spent every full weekend up there during deer season. I climbed the ladder with a garbage bag, ready to pack up his stuff. I opened the door. He was sitting in his chair. Not a body, not a corpse. My dad, alive, wearing his hunting camo, holding his rifle, staring out of the window at the woods. Dad? He didn't turn around. I stood there, frozen on the ladder, my brain trying to process what I was seeing. This wasn't possible. I'd seen his body, touched his cold hand at the morgue, signed papers. Dad, how are you? Shh. He raised one finger to his lips, still not looking at me. You'll scare them off. Scare what off? The deer. They come through right at sunset. Big buck, 12-pointer. I've been tracking him for 3 years. My hands were shaking on the ladder. Dad, you're dead. You died on Thursday. I watched you die. Can't be dead, he said, finally turning to look at me. Season just started. His face was wrong, not decomposed or rotting, just wrong. His skin was the right colour, but it didn't move right. His eyes didn't blink. His smile was too fixed, like it had been painted on. I need you to leave now, he said. You're making noise. You're spooking. Dad, please, you need to come home. Mum is... Your mother knows where I am. I'm always here during season. Now get out. Come back after dark if you want. But right now you're ruining the hunt. I didn't know what to do. I climbed down, walked back through the woods in a daze. My hands were numb. My mind was screaming that this wasn't real. It couldn't be real. I got home. Mum was in the kitchen. Did you clear out the blind? She asked. Dad's up there. She went still. What? He's in the blind, sitting in his chair, talking. Mum, he's alive. Stop it. Her voice was sharp. Don't do this. Don't make this harder. I'm not making it up. Come with me. You'll see. Your father is dead. She was crying now. I buried my husband. Don't you dare tell me he's sitting in a tree in the woods. I drove back out there at sunset. I climbed the ladder. Dad was still there, but now there was a deer hanging from the tree next to the blind. Gutted. Fresh. Blood still dripping. Got him, Dad said. He was field dressing it, his hands covered in blood up to the elbow. Told you he'll come back through at sunset. 3 years I've been waiting for this buck. The deer's eyes were open, still aware, still alive somehow, even though its chest was split open and its organs were gone. I watched his eyes track me, watched his mouth open slightly. It made a sound, not a deer sound. It sounded like my dad's voice, weak, distant. Help me, please, help me. I fell off the ladder, landed hard on my back, all the air knocked out of my lungs, scrambled away, gasping, my vision going dark at the edges. When I looked up, the thing in the blind was leaning out, watching me, still wearing my dad's face. You should go, it said. It's getting dark. Woods aren't safe after dark. I ran. I went to the police, told them someone had killed a deer illegally. I didn't tell them it was my dad. They'd think I was insane. 2 officers went out there with me the next morning. The blind was empty, no chair, No rifle, no deer carcass, just an old wood platform with nothing on it. "When's the last time someone used this?" the one officer asked. "My dad. He used it every season." "It doesn't look like anyone's been here in years," the other one said, running his hand along the wood. It came away covered in dust and rot. "This wood's rotted through. Surprised it's still standing." "Well, I'd been up there yesterday. The chair had been there, the rifle, my dad." After they left, I climbed back up. There was something carved into the wood, fresh. The wood shavings were still light coloured, not weathered. It read, "Season never ends." That night, I heard tapping on my bedroom window. I live on the second floor. I looked. My dad was outside, floating, his hunting camo covered in blood, his mouth opening and closing but no sound coming out. Behind him, in the darkness, I could see others, dozens of them, all floating, all wearing hunting camo, all staring at me with those wrong, painted-on expressions. And behind them, deer, standing on their hind legs, walking upright, their front legs hanging useless, but their back legs strong, human-like, their heads tilted at wrong angles, their eyes too aware. My dad pressed his hand against the window, left a bloody handprint. Then he pointed, past me, at my closet. I turned slowly. My hunting gear was laid out on my bed. Gear I hadn't touched in 5 years, since I stopped hunting with my dad. The rifle was there too, cleaned, loaded. I hadn't put it there. When I looked back at the window, they were all pointed now, all of them. My dad, the floating hunters, the upright deer, all pointing at the rifle. One of the deer pressed its face against the window, its mouth opened. "Season just started," it said in my dad's voice. "You coming?" I moved to a hotel that night, didn't go back to the house for 3 days. When I finally did, my hunting gear was gone, the rifle was gone, but there was a trail of blood drops leading from my room, down the stairs, out the back door, into the woods, towards the blind. I followed it. I don't know why, I just had to know. The blind was back, not rotted, solid, new looking. There were 2 chairs now. One had my dad's name carved into the armrest, the other had mine. I hadn't gone back to the woods. I sold the property, moved 3 states away. But every fall, every hunting season starts, I wake up in the blind. Not in my bed, not in my apartment, in the blind. Sitting in my chair, rifle in my hands, staring out at the woods. And beside me, my dad sits in his chair, smiling that painted-on smile. "Big bucks coming through at sunset," he always says. "You ready?" I can never move, can never speak. I just sit there until the deer comes, and it's never a deer. It's a person, walking on all 4s, antlers grown from their heads, moving wrong, looking at me with terrified, aware eyes. My dad shoots, they go down. "Your turn next time," he always says. Then I wake up in my bed, my hands smelling like gunpowder and blood. Last week, I found a hunter's tag in my pocket, the kind you attach to a kill to show it's yours. It had my name on it, an address. I looked it up. It was a real person, a real address. This morning, I saw on the news that they went missing, last seen hiking in the woods, 3 states away, near where I live now. My rifle appeared in my closet 2 days ago. I didn't bring it with me when I moved. My dad always says season never ends, and now I think it's my turn to hunt. The trail marker said 2.3 miles to the parking lot. I'd been walking for 6 hours. It was late October, perfect hiking weather. My phone said 3:47 PM when I started the descent. Easy trail, I'd done it a dozen times. At 4:15 PM, I passed a distinctive tree, a massive oak with a split trunk forming a perfect V. At 5:02 p.m, I passed the same tree again. I stopped, checked my compass app, north, towards the parking lot. The trail only went one direction, you couldn't get lost if you tried. But I just passed the V tree twice while walking in a straight line. My legs were already aching, my mouth was dry. I'd run out of water an hour ago. I walked faster, watching for the tree. At 5:34 p.m, I passed it again. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I started jogging. The trail was clear, marked with blue blazes every 100 feet. North, always north. At 6:08 p.m, the V tree appeared ahead of me again. I screamed into the darkening woods, my raw throat tearing. My echo came back wrong, delayed, layered, like multiple voices screaming with mine. Something moved in the trees to my left, too big, too deliberate. It was pacing me, staying just out of sight. I could hear branches snapping in rhythm with my footsteps. When I stopped, it stopped. I called 911. The call connected. I'm lost on the Ridgeline Trail. I can't find my way out. What mile marker are you near? I looked at the wooden post. 4.2? A long silence. Sir, there is no mile marker 4.2 on the Ridgeline Trail. The trail is only 3.1 miles total. My blood went cold. I'm looking at it now. The thing in the woods moved closer. I could see something dark between the trunks. Too tall, moving too smooth. Something's out here with me. Please, I can't breathe. The call dropped. I ran. My legs nearly gave out, but adrenaline kicked in. Branches whipped my face, drawing blood. My lungs were on fire. Each breath felt like glass in my chest. I could hear it behind me. Something huge crashing through the woods, gaining on me. I was sobbing, gasping, my vision tunneling. I broke through the tree line, back at the V tree. Something was standing next to it, shaped like a person but wrong. 7 feet tall, too thin, like someone stretched. Just dark, like a shadow in 3 dimensions. No face, just smooth surface. But I could feel it looking at me. My legs gave out. I collapsed. My compass started spinning, the needle whipping in circles. The thing took a step towards me, too fluid, no footsteps, no sound. I tried to crawl backwards, but my arms wouldn't work. I was shaking so hard my teeth were chattering. It tilted its head 90 degrees in an instant. Then it raised one arm and pointed past me, down the trail. Behind me, footsteps, multiple sets, getting closer. Voices calling my name in patches slightly off, like recordings played wrong. The thing pointed again, more urgent. I forced myself up, stumbled in the direction it pointed, into darker woods. I ran, fell, my hands hit the ground, pain shooting through my wrist, palms bleeding on the rocks. I got up, fell again, my knees hit hard. Behind me, the voices were closer. Come back. We just want to help. I crawled, stood, ran. Branches tore my arms. Thorns ripped my jacket. I couldn't breathe. My heart was beating so hard I thought it would burst. I burst into the parking lot at 9:47 p.m, 6 hours after I started a 30-minute hike. I fumbled for my keys, hands shaking, dropping them 3 times. I got into my car, locked the doors. In my rearview mirror, a thing was standing at the edge of the woods. Behind it, dozens of figures emerged, too tall, too thin, too dark. They lined up along the tree line, silent and still. I started the engine. 3 miles later I had to pull over to vomit. Hours of terror, my body just gave out. I was shaking so hard I couldn't hold the steering wheel. The next day, I called the ranger station. The Ridgeline Trail has been closed for 3 weeks. the ranger said. "We found evidence of activity, markings on trees. We've had 4 other reports of people getting disorientated. 2 were found wandering the highway at 3 a.m, 10 miles from the trailhead. They couldn't remember how they got there." "What kind of activity?" "Someone's been living out there, watching. We found remains, animal we think, arranged in patterns." He paused. "Those 2 people on the highway, they said the same thing you did, about something tall in the trees, about voices, about markers that shouldn't exist." I moved 2 months later, but sometimes my compass app opens on its own. The needle spins and spins, pointing towards nothing. And sometimes I wake up with dirt under my fingernails and scratches on my arms that weren't there when I went to bed, like something is still trying to bring me back to the trail. My uncle's deer camp was 40 miles from the nearest town, deep in Minnesota wilderness. I'd been going since I was 12, but that November was the first time I went alone. 1 room, wood stove, no electricity, 2 weeks of isolation. I arrived Tuesday afternoon. By 7 p.m, it was full dark, and I was in my sleeping bag reading by flashlight, and that's when I heard the knocking. 3 knocks, deliberate, evenly spaced, on the cabin door. Nobody I knew was out here. Nobody just wandered this deep into the woods. "Hello?" I called out. 3 more knocks, same rhythm. I grabbed my rifle. "Who's there?" Silence. I opened the door. Nothing. Just darkness and trees. No footprints in the dirt. No signs anyone had been there. At 9 p.m, it happened again. 3 knocks. I threw the door open immediately. Nothing. But there were scratches on the door now. Deep gouges, 4 parallel lines like claws. They hadn't been there when I arrived. I didn't sleep. Sat in the corner with my rifle, just watching the door. At 3 a.m, I heard footsteps outside, circling the cabin, slow, deliberate. They'd walk a few steps, stop, and then continue, like examining the cabin from every angle. Then they stopped at the door. 3 knocks. "Go away!" I screamed, rifle aimed, hands shaking. The footsteps moved away into the woods. At dawn, I went outside. The ground was covered in frost, perfect for tracking. Deer tracks, dozens of them, circling the cabin in the exact pattern I'd heard. But deer don't walk in circles, and deers don't knock on doors. I followed the tracks 100 yards to a clearing I'd never noticed before. The clearing was full of bones, deer skulls, dozens of them, arranged in a circle, and in the middle, a fresh deer carcass, still steaming. Well, it had been spread, ribcage sprayed out like wings, bones bent backwards, organs removed and arranged in a spiral pattern around it. The smell hit me, copper blood and something sweet and rotten. I gagged. This wasn't a predator. This was a ritual. Every tree around the clearing had symbols carved into the bark, the same symbols spiraling up the trunks. It looked like antlers, or branches, or reaching hands. Looking at it made my head hurt. I heard a sound behind me. A deer was standing at the clearing edge. Massive buck, 12 points, staring at me, not gazing, not alert, just staring. Its eyes were wrong, too aware, too intelligent. Another deer emerged, then another. Within a minute, 20 deer surrounded me, all standing still, all staring with those wrong eyes. I'd hunted my whole life. Deer don't act like this. They don't surround people. They run. The buck took a step forward, walking towards me with the same deliberate steps I heard circling the cabin. My finger was on the trigger, but I couldn't shoot. Those eyes were watching me, knowing me, I was hyperventilating, my vision tunneling. The buck stopped 5 feet away, close enough to see the dark stains on its antlers, old blood. It lowered its head, almost beckoning. I ran. I crashed towards the cabin, lungs burning. I could hear them behind me, not running, just walking, matching my pace exactly. I slammed the door, looked out the window. They were standing in a line at the clearing edge, 20 deer, perfectly still, watching. The buck was in the front. It nodded its head, once, deliberately. Then they all turned in unison and walked back into the woods. Behind the buck, in the trees, I saw shapes, lots of them, standing upright, on 2 legs, too tall, too thin, eyes reflecting light but shaped wrong. I packed up in 5 minutes. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. The buck was standing in the middle of the road, watching me leave. I told my uncle I'd just got sick. 2 weeks later, he called me. He'd gone to close the cabin for the season, found the door covered in claw scratches, hundreds of them, gouged so deep the wood was splintered, found the clearing, found the symbols, but the symbols were different, extended, connected in a pattern covering the whole forest, all leading back to the clearing. My uncle burned the cabin down, reported it as electrical fire. Neither of us had been back, but sometimes, late at night, I hear 3 knocks on my bedroom door. I live in the suburbs now, 2nd floor apartment. There's no way for anyone to reach my door without coming through the building. I don't answer anymore. Last week, I found a deer skull on my doorstep. Small, young, with a symbol carved into the forehead that I recognise from the trees. I'm moving again next month, but I don't think it matters, because I think they will always know where I am.